of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call?
Scott?
Yes.
Joyce?
Yep.
Linda?
Yep.
Steve? Bill?
Yes.
Rob?
Yes.
Okay, the approval of the video and written minutes.
I'll make a motion to.
I'll second it.
Joyce?
Yeah.
Scott?
Yes.
Linda?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
Rob?
Yes.
Okay, discussion, financial report,
Okay, bank reconciliation for 3/31/2019. We have $1,643,716.07. And the payment listing. We've got $239,763.92.
okay, anybody got any questions? If not, we'll need approval for financial report.
So moved.
I'll second it.
Linda?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
Scott?
Yes.
Joyce?
Yep.
Rob?
Yes.
Okay, Joe, you wanna come up here and talk to us?
I can do that. Yep. Pass mine across first.
Thank you.
You got one, John?
Yes.
Yours, okay. Renewal time, what I did is, liability, that was all stayed the same. But what, the first, or actually the second page, definition of a member, which I think is important for the village here. Any member of the governing body, any member of boards or commissions, any elected or appointed official, any employee acting within the scope of their employment, or any volunteer or student who performs a service at your request. So that is the definition of a member, which is an insured. So last year, remember, we bumped it up to the $5 million from the $3 million to the $5 million. So the liability, your public official liability, and the automobile liability is all at the $5 million. And then if you go to page 3, which gives the breakdown of the building values. I know John, he did look over these, and I don't think there was any changes or anything in the buildings, were there, John, that you saw? No additions or anything on that. So those are, they had a 2% increase on building values from last year to this year, just for inflationary purposes. So, so the page 1 of 6, page 2 of 6, page 3 of 6, and 4 and 5, those are all pretty much the buildings, buildings that you have within the village. The next page, additional statement of values, which gives you, if you go all the way for 1 of 2, it should be like the third or fourth page from the last. These are the miscellaneous property coverages, that inland marine coverages, contents that move around the village. So John keeps me abreast on when he does purchase a new piece or get the different piece. So those are the limits that we have on those. And then the last 2 pages are the statement of values for the vehicle. Oh, the only addition was the 2019 Freightliner, the fire truck. And I was going to ask the fire chief, what's the game plan? You gonna get rid of the What
Yeah,
the-
they're gonna, he's getting rid of,
The-
Representative from Gov Deals is gonna be here Thursday afternoon to take pictures of the tower and the one that they replaced.
Okay,
So that stuff will be put up for auction.
okay. So as soon as, soon as those do come, you get a bid on them and then they are are sold, definitely let me know on those.
Okay.
So, then we can get those taken off, but, from last year to this year, premium wise, we're looking at about $1,600 increase, but the biggest was the 2019 Freightliner.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
and then we back it off, once those other two vehicles are taken off, the premium will reflect that then as well. So, John, he called after the last meeting, questioned the swim at your own risk, and I did get a price, and the swim at your own risk, we're looking at $1,000 if you wanted to add that liability back onto the liability for the quarries there, all right? But they backed it down once they did away with the slide and everything like that, but, the slide's still out there, but there's no swimming, but if you do swim at risk, then again,
So if somebody did swim at risk, okay, and then they drowned or whatever, could they still sue us?
almost
Oh,
definitely.
yes.
Most
Oh,
definitely.
yeah.
Of course they will.
Most definitely,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
You know, that's
oh,
one of
yeah.
the biggest exposures out here, you know,
Okay.
it's bad enough with a swimming pool per se, but have a quarry, a body of water,
Yeah.
it's huge liability, so, yeah. But,
So bottom line's how much, Joe?
bottom line, you're looking at.
Did I miss it?
Nope.
Oh, okay.
The total for the insurance,
Yeah,
25,622.
there you go, 25,622, so.
you say it was a $1,600 increase?
From last year to this year,
This
yeah.
year,
Well, when I first got it, it was up like almost $4,000. I'm thinking, what the devil? Here, I was looking at 2,000, we're at $2 million, or actually at 3 million, and last year, we bumped up to the 5 million. I didn't take in count that we bumped it up last year, so.
Okay.
So, yeah, so that was the difference, so. Okay. Claim wise, John, they're working on they got all the paperwork and stuff in for the generator, so.
And I know that took quite a while, but I was waiting to get everything in and kind of bickering with Cummins about the cost.
The cost of it,
So,
yeah,
I've not heard anything from them yet.
yeah. I talked with them the other day, and they said that they finally have all the paperwork in there, and they're reviewing it, making sure that all the Ts are crossed and all the Is are dotted, so, and then, they'll issue payment less deductible on that, so, so. But, out there, have you done anything different, that we should be worried about for either the sewer or water? Have you done any improvements or betterments out there? Okay, still same old, okay, cool. So, all right, anything else?
Very
Any
thorough,
questions?
like always.
Appreciate the business and,
Does
appreciate
this
you
mean
letting
you
me.
want money?
Yeah.
I think it was due yesterday.
Yeah, it was.
That's fine.
April Fool's Day.
We sent the check yesterday.
You said so. So, no, as long as there's a motion, we know that the check will be coming, so.
I'll make a motion that we accept the new insurance coverage.
I'll second it.
Linda,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Joyce,
Yeah.
Bill,
Yes.
Rob.
Yes.
All right, well, thank you.
Thank
You
you.
guys have my number, if anything would arise or questions or concerns, definitely give me a jingle.
Okay.
Yeah.
All righty?
Thanks, Joe.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Charlene, you're up.
Hi, everyone. How are you?
Hello.
Hi.
Okay, so a couple things from regional planning. First, I sent out today the pre-application for the program year 2019 Community Development Block Grant. Sent that to Gary and John, so they can look it over. And it's due back first or second week of May, so if you guys are interested in something, get that over. Second thing is we did the income survey, so I'm gonna fill you in on how horrible this was.
We already know.
Literally, how horrible it was. So, we were required to have 253 households surveyed for the village of Bettsville. We received 173 surveys by the cutoff date, so we needed 80 more by the time of cutoff. After cutoff, we received 9 more, so in total, we still needed 71. So here's what I would like to recommend, and this is up to you guys. I would like to recommend that myself and Isabel, who's the planning and administrative assistant in my office, I think you guys are pretty familiar with who she is, she'll probably make her rounds after May too. We'll work with John to do another survey. Make it a little different, do it a little easier, see what we can do to make this get through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did it work better when we went door to door or not? Remember when we'd go out door to door, we had so many people and we'd go and knock and people were very nice. There were only a few that were really Haiti, you know.
We weren't doing nearly as many as what we have to do now.
Yeah, 'cause I think it was only like 80 or 85.
Yeah,
Yeah, it wasn't that big a number.
This is, we have to go, based off of the village size, we have a minimum sampling size, and the minimum sampling is 253. So we have to hit that. We
Can't
try
you
to
just get their
exceed it.
income tax returns?
Nope.
No?
We don't want that. I don't want that.
The size now is also due to the amount of service area we cover with the wastewater.
Mhm.
So in order for us to be eligible to apply for stuff for wastewater also, we have to cover that area. So that's why it's, the number of people is higher for surveys than it used to be.
We have to do random, so what we do is we take all those addresses, we put them into an Excel spreadsheet. There's a great little formula in there that randomizes the list. Then we pull the first 253 from the list. I will say that we had staff exiting the office at the time this was being done, so maybe I believe it could have been done better. That's the best way I'm gonna put it. We are going to do it a little differently so it works better with John. And work with John on that, and Isabel will too. I don't think it will be as intensive as it was last time. But there's ways to make it a little easier. We have, from the time we started, to the time it ends, 3 months to complete it. We actually have less time than that because CDBG grants are due by June 1st. So if you guys have an idea for a pre-application, I would definitely say complete the pre-application, and it'll be contingent on your surveys and us getting them all done. There will be some door-to-door work that's gonna be required. John will have that list. You may even have me come back with that list and hand it to you and tell you, this is your work. Because honestly, I did it in the Village of Republic, and I'm not afraid to do it here. I'll come in and say, hey, this is how many we need, here's the list. You guys split it up, go door to door. As council members, that's part of what you're supposed to do.
Right.
We are very happy to facilitate that things come into us, so that people in the village don't feel like everybody knows their business. And everybody knows I'm not gonna tell anybody your business, so there you go. We don't do that, and your name's not on it, it's just your address, but we don't really, I really don't care how much money you make, I just wanna get it into the survey so I can make sure you guys qualify. So that's gonna be the big thing for us too.
Excuse me.
So I just wanna know if you guys want to try this again. If you do, we'll work really hard with John to do it, but that's up to the council on that.
We should give it one other try.
Yeah.
Right.
Better than
We
we-
gotta try to get income to the village somehow, right?
We gotta
Yeah.
get word to them that, hey, we don't care, it's not going nowhere, and that this helps us to get money, free money.
And it will reduce costs to them. So the reality is that with the income survey, your village residents, if we're able to apply for certain funding through that, reduces, it could reduce a need for you to increase an income tax. It could reduce the need to raise a sewer bill rate because you have to do a major fix. Prime example is we do Seneca County Sewer District. We have 5 subs in that, and one of them's New Riggle. And they're probably a very expensive quarterly sewer bill. And we had pumps that needed replaced there. So in essence, if you're gonna replace the pumps, they're not cheap, rates are gonna go up, right? Well, we were able to acquire funds to the CDBG grant last round to replace those pumps, so the rates didn't go up. So that's how you have to kind
Is that
of,
the only thing we're eligible for, is CBD stuff?
no, not
I
necessarily.
just wanna ask one question, okay? I read the commissioner's deal every week, okay, and all this money they hand out, okay? It says Tiffin, and then it's got the Seneca County, blah, 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 okay? Tiffin, they've got all this money, they're building, bandstands, and they're doing all the facades of these, buildings and all that stuff, but I never see any money going to the villages, like New Riggle or Republic or Green Springs or Bettsville or whatever. So,
We need to talk about
So-
how that's split up, so
yeah,
it's better
I'd like to
understanding
know,
for you
and
guys.
I think a lot of other people would like to know, how
So-
come Tiffin's booming and we are just struggling, these little guys, little
So
towns, you know?
here's how that works, Joyce, and I think it's a really good question and really good to understand, and it's great that you asked me, because that's what I'm here for, right? And who better to ask than one of your own? So the CDBG grant, we'll start with that, is basically their allocations, okay? And then you have to apply for the allocations. The city of Tiffin has its own allocation separate from Seneca County and the city of Fostoria. It's on a different cycle, so they apply differently than the county does, all right? I don't manage their CDBG grant, that's done through Tiffin Seneca Economic Partnership, which was formerly SIDEC, okay? So that's who does that for them. So, not Charlene, she has nothing to do with that part of it. When it comes to the county CDBG grant, this is the second cycle that I will be in doing. And if you can notice from the first cycle, we did 5 different projects that went all throughout the county, right? We didn't do just one building or one large project. We tried to split that money up so that people could benefit from it all over, which we did. We did the homeless prevention program, we did the Village of New Riggle sidewalks, we did New Riggle Sewer District, we did Clinton Township Fire Department, and we're doing ADA compliance modification to a restroom. So that's where our money kind of splits that way. So then the city of Tiffin also applies for other funding through other sources. So that's a little different than what the village could apply for.
Yep.
Our goal in our office is try to always get you what we think you can qualify for, or to work with you on it. We tried really hard to get you some money for out at the park, for the dog park, and I think that due to some public feedback, because the grantee who does that does look at social media and everything else to see what the public's saying, that affected your scoring.
Exactly.
And you have to remember those types of things. I also believe that we have to look at what your need is versus what your want is. So your downtown, definitely. I think every village in Seneca County, the downtowns need to be addressed, right? There's no doubt about it. That's economic development. Gary can attest to the fact that I will stand on these 2 feet and everybody else's and tell you regional planning is not economic development.
Right.
So we need to work with TSEP to do economic development for you downtown. That's just not regional planning's gig.
Right.
We are not, no. I will help anybody that needs me sit on a committee or help with those types of things, but we really don't do that. So I believe they have hired a young lady, Audrey Flood, who is gonna be meeting and coming out, and I'm gonna take her out to meet people so she's not like this new face that doesn't have somebody that everybody knows. So it's kinda nice to have me come along with her and get to meet people. And she's from TSEP. She'll be starting in May, so she'll be reaching out to people for that as well. So trying to get that out there. That's part of the goals that the commissioners set with TSEP when they signed the contract, is they needed to get out in these villages and help them with their downtowns.
Yep.
So we all agree on that, okay? So that's kind of how that money splits up and trickles out. City of Tiffin also qualifies for micropolitan grants that villages can't qualify for. They have road construction grants that are different than what county or village road construction grants are gonna be. So there's a whole different layering to everything. And you really, it's good to have somebody give you the high level. If you wanna get down in the woods about it, you need to come spend about 6 months with me and we'll get down in the woods about it. Does that make sense? I know it's frustrating.
Well, like I said, and just like the deal with the buildings, I thought, like us, okay, if your building looks bad, you have to fix it yourself. Why aren't the owners of the buildings in Tiffin being made to fix their own buildings instead of having a big old grant come in there and fixing all these gorgeous things all up.
What I can tell you about that is with the facade grants, the owner of the building does have to pay for a portion of that. I don't administer that grant, I don't apply for that grant, I don't do anything with that grant, but I can tell you that the building owner has to pay for a portion of it. They don't get it for free. That would be the same thing that would happen here. If we were able to get a downtown grant for the village of Bettsville, the owners of the buildings have to help pay for it. They don't get free money.
Okay,
Doesn't work that way. It's economic development.
right.
You have to take and put some,
Ownership into
yeah,
it.
you gotta put something into it. You gotta have some skin in the game. And that's same with our grants. We don't really look at the CDBG, we ask you to put a little skin in the game too, right? You're gonna get better
Right.
scores if you put a little bit in there. So that's how that
But it
works.
still doesn't matter how many grants you get, we still have to pay, you know.
Yeah, you still have to pay.
And, you know,
Yeah.
and when you're struggling and you don't have the money, you know,
It's hard.
yeah, it's really.
And we look for things, so if there's a way we can help, we try. We'll help as much as we can, but that's the best breakdown I can give. I've met with Audrey, we are gonna set up a schedule. I told her not to try to be me, to get out to every township and village in the first month that you're working. I
Right,
could do that, but I told her, don't do it, it's gonna kill you. Cause it's a lot, I mean, you end up going to like 3 or 4 meetings on one night, and
Yeah.
it's horrible on your body and everything, so.
right.
We're gonna break it up over what period, and I'm gonna work with her to help her get through it. And that's just dedication, and that's a testament to our partnerships with other entities, that we're willing to help them. I do know that Bettsville's had a couple of buildings for sale downtown, which were economic development opportunities, and I forwarded those over to TSEP so that they could, have those listings in case there was somebody looking to open in a village. So we've done that for you. And when there's an opportunity, we try to get it to the right person. So that's where we're at on those. And that's where there's a difference. I mean, I wish we could say that all the money could go to villages and townships. Well, it doesn't always do that. Because that's where I would like to spend all the money. It doesn't work that way. So we'll keep trying for you though.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Is there anything else yet? No? Okay, another thing I just wanna remind you guys about, and we're gonna start marketing pretty hard, is the 2020 census. As April 1st is Census Day, or was Census Day, and we're a year out from the 2020 census. It is extremely important that your citizens take the census. There's billions of dollars that are in jeopardy because of the census. If you do not have a complete count, you can lose money. And that's another issue where we could lose out on funding. We could lose seats. We can have major impact on us. What we have been told so far is that the census is more than likely going to be online. So that's gonna be nice for a lot of people who are homebound, or for our younger generation who's not really into the paper mode. They like the electronic version much better. That's gonna be great for them.
But what if they don't?
There will be a paper option.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, the Census Bureau is looking for seasonal work right now, looking for seasonal employees to help. They'll be going door to door, they'll be helping with things. So we encourage people to go to their website and start applying for jobs. So if you've got anybody in the family, in town, who's looking for something for next year, it'd be great to get them in. At least it's a little bit of work for them.
Cool.
Well, I appreciate your guys' time.
Thank you.
Thanks, Charlene.
Here to make your life more pleasant.
Thank you.
Thank you much.
Not a
Thank you.
problem. Yeah.
Okay, Donnie? Yeah. When you come up, would you state your name for the camera?
Oh, hello, Don Gammersfelder here. First of all, I want to thank you guys for what you do out here. I know I used to be a council member, and it's a lot of work. You get a lot of complaints and not much of a check. I'm here to ask for a variance here for zoning. There's an application here, and I've got some things here to pass out just for everybody here, I guess.
Thanks, Don.
This has got a, get one here, this one around, Joyce. And anyhow.
Okay,
Got a little
thank
story
you.
on the front there. See, I live down at 410 Union Street, on the corner of Union and Franklin. And behind me is Wilson Street. And what I'd like to do, I have a old garage there that I'd like to put a second story on. And I'd also like to put a small, like, lean-to addition to the back on the east side. And garage is looking pretty dismal at this point, it really needs some work, so, you know, when I'd be done, I'd have some new windows in it, a new roof. And I guess the situation here is, Rob stopped by here the other day, and we can't even really find the property line mistakes anymore. Of course, this house was built back in the 1800s, and I think the garage is probably almost that old. So what I've done here is attach some drawings here on the back. The second page kind of shows the east side. And the little dotted lines there would be where I put the proposed lean-to onto the back. And I purposely is setting that in a couple feet on each side, because the garage does, it's sort of on a little bit of an angle. So I figured by coming in a couple feet, even though I'm coming out about 12 feet, it really shouldn't get any closer whatsoever to Wilson Street there behind me. The second page is just some basic drawings of the that I set the Amish fellows that are probably gonna do this. Anyhow, that's the south side, north side, nothing fancy there. Just has all the dimensions. Then on the back, I've got a drawing there. It shows pretty much a aerial view, how far the house sets back, and the garage. There's like 21 feet there to the front corner from the Wilson Street, and garage is 27 feet long. And of course, that addition, I have a little arrow there where I propose to put the lean-to. I don't plan on heating the garage. Actually, there's a chimney in there that's going to get tore out. But the proposed add-on is basically a little, the reason I'm doing this, because I'd like to have a little workshop there that I can heat to do my stained glass work. So, anyhow, I'm just here to ask for a variance from the council, because I think just spending money when we can't even find the stakes and coming out and spending $1,000 or $2,000, whatever, it would be a total waste of money. And I filled out the application here. I don't know, I only have one copy of this. I guess this is what I've.
Hang on to that for a moment.
Yeah, okay.
Is there, like, on your deed, when you have a deed, isn't there doesn't it tell you where all your stuff is?
Well, I have the lots listed there. You'd have to, you know, I don't know that it would actually have any kind of physical locations on it, they're just lot numbers. Which you'd have to go back through the courthouse, I suppose, to figure out. I don't even know where they'd measure them from.
How far this is and that?
Some will be platted. If he's platted, there should be posts in the village, but if you're out, man, I've seen some where it's from the big oak tree to the stone pile to the,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I would think your dimensions would be on your deed.
sort of.
Sort of.
Pretty good, but
Look at that on Elm Street.
I've listed
We were way off on
the,
that. I mean,
They're ballparks.
That's on somebody
Yeah.
else's property.
the parcel numbers, I think, are just to make sure you pay taxes really more than anything
Really?
else, you know.
Really?
They don't know.
there's pins somewhere, but at this point, to find them is probably really tough.
Yeah.
So if it's, all right, I'm going by this, okay. So, what, the question is it this that's in jeopardy, or is it your shed that's in jeopardy, or is it the?
Nothing that I know of. Nothing's in jeopardy that I know of.
The question, Joyce, is, and I'll show you these pictures, John took some pictures, and I took some pictures, they both really show the same thing. What I was looking at is, that's Wilson Street, right?
Wilson's, yeah, it's almost
Yeah.
like probably
Yeah.
was an alley at
Yeah.
one time, now it's called Wilson Street.
It's got frontage now, so it's a street. And John was going by where these telephone poles, which is normally, but that's, in my case, I got a telephone pole in my backyard. So, I really don't know, I have to defer to John on that. But where he wanted to build this is, if you look at these pictures and how fast he's around, they're 2-foot inset of his garage.
Yeah, that'd be the
Okay.
east side you're looking at right there.
So,
Now, is this your property too?
without a property line, looking at it even from the telephone poles, it's clearly on his property. So, but it's within that 6 foot. And that's the reason why I recommended to him,
Variance.
since the only person that goes up against is village property. It doesn't affect any of the other neighbors. That he filed for a variance. And I personally don't have any problem with it. But I'm only one of 6.
Okay. Now, is it gonna go inside where this fence is or on the outside?
Yeah, it'll actually be inside.
Oh.
That's why I'm
Oh.
gonna inset it.
Oh,
Yeah, that
yeah.
fence has been there forever. I
Yeah,
used to have a
yeah.
little swimming pool in there,
Yeah, I
actually.
know, yeah, okay, yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Oh, well, then I wouldn't have a problem with
yeah, I'll inset it so it
I
doesn't.
really don't.
Yeah, it's an old one. We figured out the house
But-
was built in
that.
1889.
Really?
Sold for $1,600.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Since we
Mine
don't
was built in
know where the-
1885.
Really?
Yeah, yeah, the old
I just
doctor's
talked to
office.
another gentleman
Yeah.
Well, it must have been when this
town
got started.
Yeah,
About
yeah.
$1,500 to have Hank and Associates
And the
survey.
doctor that
So-
lived there was a grave robber, went to prison.
Given our past performance in the last year or so, I thought since he is on his property, we can't just give him a permit, but if he issues a variance, that kind of covers us on our laws
Yeah,
and gets him,
I agree,
if he's willing to do that.
I agree.
So,
Because we want people, that enhance their properties and stuff as well, because it's just good for the community all the way around too.
It helps.
Yeah, I
You know what I'm saying?
It doesn't hurt.
Yeah, I try to keep my place real nice down there, so I think it'll actually help with property values around.
Are you willing to pay the price for the variance?
Yeah, I don't even know what it is.
It was
Tell
on
you.
that form.
Oh,
Should be, $250.
no, it doesn't, I didn't see it on here, but no,
Okay, it's
I can pay the
it's
$250.
$250 for variance.
Yeah, that's no problem.
Yeah,
Now, if you're willing to pay for it, then
Won't be able to afford candy for trick or treating.
I think we oughta have a vote or something, just to,
I make a motion to accept the variance for the solid garage.
I'll second it.
Okay,
Oh,
there you
thanks.
go.
Scott,
Yes.
Rob,
Yes.
Linda,
Yes.
Joyce,
Yeah,
Bill.
Yes.
All right, well, thank you very much. This form, I suppose I turn in maybe a copy of this? What all do I need?
That, you'll have to work with John.
Okay.
John is the one that does building permits and accepts the variance. They're the ones that do it.
Do I give him the check too?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then he gives it to Angela.
That's what I'll give it to.
All right.
Yeah, the check wrote out to Bettsville zoning. That
That's
way-
Bill zoning?
Yeah.
Okay.
That way Angela knows where to put it.
All right. So 250, that's Bill zoning, okay. Well, thank you very much, folks.
Yeah, it didn't hurt at all, did it? Well, it hurt a little.
As much as the
well,
survey.
it's still better than a thousand.
Now if I change my mind, I'm out $250, right?
Yeah,
Sorry about that.
non-refundable bonds.
Oh, that's all right. Okay, well, thanks a lot, folks.
Thanks a lot.
Okay, thanks,
Have a
Don.
good night.
It's right on your left there, Don.
Mhm. Thanks, Rob.
Not a problem.
Professional.
I thought so. I was trying.
Oh, first.
I got one that's not so easy here a little bit.
Okay, reports from committees. Finance, finance budget, audit. Police, Gavin, you're up to bat.
For the month of March, there were 4 traffic tickets, 4 traffic warnings. It was a real slow month with the traffic. We had 2 suspicious persons, vehicles or trespassing complaints, 1 OVI for intox complaint, 1 vandalism damaging, 2 juvenile complaints, 3 disturbances or disorderly conducts, 1 alarm, 3 assists, and 1 in the other category, so like a non-criminal type call. A total of 22 calls were handled in the village. I handled 14 for 64%. So far, there's been 81 calls this year, or 81 calls and complaints in the village.
I actually think it's working pretty good. I mean, the system now, I think you have a lot less complaints. And,
I got a complaint.
okay.
Just a heads up, living where I live, right next to the school like that, right around from the hours of, I'll say 4 to 8 o'clock, maybe 9 o'clock at night, there's been a lot of, I'm gonna term it reckless op. There's a lot of people doing rabbit starts, and there's a lot of loud four-wheelers that try to run through there now and then. I've been noticing, I said, well, I wish we had a cop right here. But,
4 to 9.
it's within feet of the school, so. it's-
Anytime you see something like that,
It just happened the other night, so
That-
I was bringing.
right, obviously I can't be
No,
everywhere at
I'm
once,
just
but
giving you a heads up what to look for.
if you happen to see me earlier in the day or something, and see somebody go ripping through there, you call the sheriff's office and I'm in town, say maybe I'm out doing a lap at the park or something when that happens, obviously there's no way I'm gonna
I'll
see
keep
or
that in
hear
mind.
it. If you call, they'll let me know, and I can just shoot down here,
Okay.
and I might be able to intercept the four-wheeler or catch somebody doing whatever at
The warmer it gets, the more.
It's
More
gonna
it's gonna happen.
Right,
More
it
it's
picks
gonna
up.
happen. And then I don't know if the rest of the towns like this, but around that school, it's just a magnet for those people.
It's kind of like out towards your house and then back out that way
Yeah,
is
yeah,
where
yeah.
most of it happens, because they'll come in off of like the back.
It's kinda hard to tell, because there's a guy that lives behind me that's got a big diesel truck. So when he takes off, it sounds like he's really going crazy, but he's not.
Right.
Then you got another one that's, it appears to me to be a gasoline engine, and it's just got loud mufflers or whatever, and he is pouring it to it.
Okay, do you know what the truck looks like?
It looked like a white Chevy, I thought.
Nice Chevy.
Like a Silverado.
Thanks.
Are you
Are
out
you
there?
out running around, Scott?
It wasn't him.
So, yeah, if you get a better description or any description at all,
I'll
just,
give you a call.
yeah, just call out, and even if I'm not working, just tell them to, yeah, you want me to stop by one day, or
Yeah.
else just wave me down or whatever.
I
I'll
will.
stop and talk to you,
All right.
and I'll write it down, so that way I have more something to focus on than just between the hours of 4 and 9, because that's a huge time period. I could sit at the school from 4 to 9 every night.
And not
but-
have anything happen.
Right,
Well, you wouldn't.
Well, because they're gonna know you're there, yeah.
right, that's what I'm saying, and
But you're not, well, my idea wasn't that you're gonna catch every one of them,
Oh,
but
right.
if you drive, if you just happen to come through, you're gonna catch one.
I drive around a lot,
So,
so they must be doing it when I'm not around,
You got
or they
the
could be doing it
walkie-talkies.
when I'm not here, because I do have my
Yeah.
days off and whatnot, my rotating schedule, so.
they get dealt with.
Alright,
Okay, Kevin, thank
more
you.
questions or comments?
No, thank you very much, doing a good
Thanks,
job.
Kevin.
We have a good system like everybody, right?
Just a heads up. I'd rather say something.
AJ, you got the fire report, is that what you got? Okay,
Okay, cool.
we'll put you in there now.
Okay, thank you.
We had 5 runs for the month, got 26 for the year now. Kind of a slow month. We did get engine 62 in service.
That's the number.
You guys like it?
Still getting used to it. It's different.
Are you guys getting rid of the ladder truck? Are you?
That is the tentative plan.
Really?
It's costly to keep.
Well, it was costly when we bought it, okay.
That's all we're doing.
You got any questions for us, AJ?
No,
Nope.
no, thanks for your service.
Thanks, AJ.
Thanks, AJ. AJ what? He doesn't tell you.
Yep. No, sure.
You come on a whole acre drive with you. kinda right across from Jerry H.
Oh, that, okay, all right.
Okay, you got anything on cleanup, Joyce?
No, but it's gonna start because now that it's getting warmer. You know, I got like 3 biggies and then some minors.
Okay, water sewer street, John?
Okay, sewer, new pumps come in for, Township Road 1166 today. We've got a piece that's broke off down inside the station, so we're gonna have to have Adkins come in and pump it down. We're gonna have to hire somebody to go down in there, cause we don't have the equipment.
We're gonna have bind space stuff, yeah.
We need a tripod and a
Yeah.
blower and everything, so the company that I ordered the pumps from is Buckeye Pump out of Galleon.
They do it?
Yeah, they're gonna send somebody up as soon as we get the parts. But, right, that station holds 2 pumps, and right now there's one in it, which there's like 12 houses on it. It's not an issue for flow, so. And if something happens to that pump, I got 2 new ones sitting here ready to go, so that's taken care of. Water, we got the hydrant replaced
Yep.
at the end of
Saw
12,
that.
down towards the Legion. We get every 3 years, we have an EPA survey. We had that done. There's a couple small things about a valve program and whatnot, and Dave and I have been working on that. There was like 4 things that she wanted us to do, and 3 of them are done, so. They only give you 30 days to comply, so you don't have a lot of time. You gotta get her done when they tell you to. Street department, I got filters and stuff for the mowers and oil today, so we'll start getting that stuff back here and putting some of the plows and stuff back out to the sewer plant. Hopefully we don't need anything like that anymore. Then the only other thing I got is, there's an old trailer out to the park that they used to use behind the tractor that has transmission issues.
Right.
That's scary, so that doesn't,
Use that,
it's an old
tractor out
8N.
there, yeah, it's-
Anywho, that trailer, the wheels are off of it, and it's
That was a-
dilapidated.
That was a homemade deal, yeah.
Yeah.
But I would like permission to use some of Joyce's money. They've got little 5x8 trailers at Rural King and Tractor Supply for $750, which they could pull behind a lawnmower. I'll just make up a little hitch for a 0 turn. So they can use it to pick up the trash, drums, and whatnot out there. Last year, Sam and I was picking them drums up into the bed of the dump truck. And,
That's kind of heavy.
well, and it's chest high.
Yes.
So, I mean, for $750,
Yeah.
and it's small enough, it'll still fit inside the barn out there, so it
Good.
won't be sitting outside for
Good,
someone to
good.
take off. So, I just wanted permission to get.
Should we give it to him or not?
Yeah,
It's your
they,
money.
Yeah, you're
They
right.
need
What do you
it.
think?
they needed to pick up the
Yeah.
trash cans.
Yeah.
And-
Yeah.
You guys always have a
You have our
sob
permission
story.
to.
But okay, cheesy.
Consensus is you could have it, John.
All right, perfect.
Well, why don't we put it in a minute?
Yeah, do
Okay,
it.
I'll make a
I'll make a-
motion,
Go ahead.
I'll make a motion that we take $750 out of Joyce's fund to give to John to purchase a small trailer.
Which is lands and buildings.
I couldn't remember. that, John.
And I'll second it.
Yeah, yeah, don't put that in their Joyce's fund, for God's sake.
Well, she knew what I meant.
You gone here since?
You're getting that a real thing, John?
Yeah.
Linda?
Yes,
Scott?
Yes.
Joyce?
Mm,
Bill?
Yeah.
Rob?
Yes.
That's all I have.
Okay.
okay. Thanks, John.
And Chief Parks, you wanna come up?
Hi, Ed, how are you doing today? Mr. Mayor, Council. John just mentioned about cleanup work. I'm sure you've all seen posters we've posted around. This coming Saturday, we have planned major cleanup. We'd like to get a lot of people out there. We're looking to get that cleaned up. Maybe, John, you could have that trailer for us Saturday?
That was my plan.
Appreciate that, that would work great.
Bring my stuff out.
In collaboration with the cleanup, we also would like to get a porta potty out there.
Oh.
And Alicia called me just before the meeting here tonight, she couldn't be here. But she evidently has talked to somebody and it would cost about $125 to have one.
Is that how
set
much
out
it
there.
is?
Is that?
You
I
know?
think it's more than that, and you have to have, it's 30 days, you could have it for a day and they charge you for 30.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Is it,
Okay.
was it 125 for the
Well,
30 days, or is it just for the?
I'm not sure, she just.
Yeah, we don't
asked me
know, I
to-
don't know.
Who'd you talk to?
Well, she talked to
Joyce
me on
just-
it, John.
Joyce, Alicia talked to me just before the meeting tonight and wanted me to be sure to mention it or check
I
on it.
mean, I mentioned to you too that they wanted one out there, but we said we didn't have the money, but.
Okay, at this point,
Otherwise,
will we have access to any water yet?
no.
Can we,
No.
no chance of getting
Nope.
something
No.
turned on so we'd have water?
No.
No.
Not for Saturday, no way.
Okay,
Once everything gets hooked back up again, the lines have to set with chlorine on them
Yep.
for a week, and then we have to send samples out. It's a couple-week process. It's not,
okay, not for just non-potable,
can't do it because because there's drinking fountains and whatnot. The potential for consumption's there, and once it's turned on, it can't be shut off. And if we get freeze again, then you're
Yeah.
gonna break the lines because they're about that far below the surface.
okay,
So
okay.
We have the money to get a porta pot before Saturday.
that's up to these guys.
Yeah.
We normally
I don't-
don't get anything till May 1st.
You got
Well, I'm just-
kids out there on ball dime, there's people practicing from Verdun and Fremont out there on the ball diamonds.
Pay for a porta potty.
They-
for heaven's
we-
sakes, for
that's-
30 days.
I don't know when the money came.
Yeah.
Well, on the porta potty situation, so, okay. At this point, it looks like that's a no-go.
What's
For
that?
what?
Porta potty out there?
I don't, that's up to them.
No, if they say it's okay tonight, we'll make
They
Joyce
got
buy it.
lands and buildings.
Yeah, I'll buy it out of my
Lands and
fund,
buildings.
out of my
Fund.
fund, okay, the
I'm
slush,
not sure
the
where they get it
slush.
from or at least.
We'll make a call on them, they know where to deliver it and everything.
We'd like to have at least one,
Yeah.
sure, so, for the cleanup.
One should be fine.
Yeah.
And I personally have been out there once this last week and went through and just picked up recyclables. And it's, along with that, I understand the dumpster that's back by the maintenance shed
Yeah,
is
D&D
is
dumpster.
a D&D outfit. And Alicia said that that's pretty full, we'd like to get that dumped, ready for the, or, you know, okay to call them and have them come do it, or do you guys?
I can call them, I'll call them for you, I'll call Dwayne tonight, yeah.
Now, we have,
Is
we
it,
have,
well, I mean, you'll have more than enough to, you're saying it's so full that you're not gonna get that much in for the cleanup?
I haven't seen it
It was full
personally.
last time I was out there.
There, I know there, when I went through and picked up cans, just cans and bottles, plastic, and put them in a little 35-gallon tub. It's in the, what I call the check window or the check building, the one as you go in. The state parks call those check windows, so I just adopted that for that little building, the check window there. And it was about 3/4 full of 35-gallon one of just recyclables. But throughout the rest of the park, there are all of the ones that I set up and looked at. A lot of them have some recyclable stuff if we want to dig it out. But they all have, I'll say, that much in them. And that would all need to be dumped and get ready for the cleanup, or someplace that we can dump them when, most of the rest of it's gonna be burnable type sticks, twigs, leaves, that type of thing,
It can all be thrown on the pipe out there.
to be cleaned up. And if he has that trailer, why, that'll work
We'll
great.
have that trailer, he'll
That'll
have
that'll
that.
work great.
If he doesn't have it,
Uh,
there'll be a trailer there.
Of course, the activity scheduled. We have a user that's interested in the park out there from Fremont, that has a league in Fremont, and he came out, we talked with him. He was interested in an immediate cleanup before at our last meeting, and the committee kind of said we wanted to know more about him, what his, you know, insurance, all this kind of things. He came out and talked to us and said, yep, I'll have a crew out here Sunday, Saturday and Sunday. That was that real nice weekend we had here.
Nobody showed
And
up.
he didn't show up, but I have since been out there, and there has been work started.
I've seen, saw somebody out there the other night.
Well,
Let's
when
go
I,
back.
when I noticed it, there was some work being done around the baselines of the south,
Yeah,
the middle.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how you number them,
Yeah.
whether the north one's
Yeah.
1, 2, and then the one, but I'll say number 2.
Yeah, I
There
seen he had,
there was some,
I think he had a rototiller out there or something.
I had, when I was out there, I used a leaf blower and blew out those 2
Dugouts.
dugouts, but the other one was so full that,
Is there electric out there?
there is electric, I don't know whether it's on, whether we can have access
Is
to it
electric on, John?
Where at?
at the
The
park.
park, is electric on? Is there electric?
There isn't, from what
Not in the maintenance building.
I was, one of the rounds that I made back at the maintenance building, where the maintenance building's at, and it goes across to where there's a tree and a pole, and then it swings over to the, what is it, the orange building, or orange, I don't know the color, the one that's clear back by the entrance to the
green one.
fishing.
That's the green
The
one.
green one, okay, that appears to be fed, and that wire is way down, hanging. I mean, it's been torn loose from the pole. I talked to the sheriff here about it, and then he talked to John, and John called me and made me aware that it was shut off in the green shelter.
Yep.
It's not to say that somebody couldn't get in there and flip it back on if they saw it off, but I was hoping maybe he had some caution tape or something we could put across there, but that needs to be addressed somehow, either between John and myself, or however, we get out and we put that back up. At this point, I'm told that it's not energized, but that doesn't mean that it couldn't be. But with the activity planned for this weekend, boy, somehow gotta make sure that that's safe. The only other thing, we talked about the trash hopper, we have lost one member, so we're gonna be, jeez, I get lost with names.
That's all right.
Peggy will.
Peggy Weller.
Apparently some of the old time people in town asked her what right she had having an opinion on the park.
Does she live in town?
She does now. The email that I had, message that I had said that she had no right, she didn't live in town, and we tried to get her to tell us who, and she wouldn't tell us who. But she did go back through on a message to me, or to the BPAC, that she lived in town, her kids have been in town, I went the whole thing. And I was gonna go to them and say, look, if that's the way you're gonna be about it, I don't even live in your counties, so,
Yeah.
you know.
It was for like the whole school district plus the outer
Yeah,
areas.
Yeah,
Get me the name, okay? The Bettsville Mafia is on the rise here.
yeah, she was, honestly, she was,
I would throw out
at our meetings, and that was a key player, because she had Zumba experience, she had all kinds of ideas for activities out there that weren't gonna be high dollar expense items that we could do and get going this summer and get something out there. And I'm keeping her in the back of my mind.
Would she come back to the,
At this point, I'm kinda understanding that maybe not this year. She has some other personal issues that helped drive her off of the committee. But that email or message or whatever she got just drove her over the edge. And we were all, that day, we've got messages go from here to the floor.
Really?
Back and forth from us. I mean, we all tried to get her to come back and stay with us, and she just said, not right now. But I still wanna keep her in mind as a contact for some of the activities. So, yep, I don't know what happened to all my notes. Oh well, that was pretty well done with those, so.
Okay.
The only thing was money for the porta potty and,
Electric.
well, if you got electric, as long as we can't have water, I was gonna bring a power washer out. We could wash out the sheds and that, so.
Can we stick a hose in the quarry?
If we had a way to get it pumped up so I could get the pressure washer. I mean,
Well,
but maybe later on,
Yeah.
things get going, we can clean them out, so.
There is no water back by the green one.
No.
The back there,
Yeah, so the only place you'd have water at would be the brown one and the orange one.
like, see,
Anyhow,
spigots up by the dugouts,
yeah,
spigots up there, so.
yeah, but the green shelter, back there, there's no water back there.
that's the original, one of the original shelter houses that went in Park Open.
Okay, one other thing I missed, and I apologize for it. I have made contact with the gas station down here. I think Alicia has talked to the gas station, and I've talked to Scooters. And both of those are very receptive to donation requests if we get things going. Scooters, thought I was talking about this Saturday, and he says we don't open till 4, starts at 10, so he says anything we did would have to be made the night before. I said, well, at this point, it wasn't for that, I was trying to make contact, and they were receptive. The gas station requested some sort of a letter, of which I have been working on. I just, my fingers just don't work here anymore. But you can take it. That's just something I threw together
okay.
tonight.
She already hit me up for the legal for a donation. I'm giving her $50 tomorrow for your meeting to use for Rutland Park for the people that clean up and that for the.
And I'll that'll be the base letter, and I'll get the recipients and all that kind of things in it.
For you
and-
too,
and-
that, for fundraisers.
Okay, yeah.
But you'll have stuff for park cleanup, how many people?
I don't know, as far as I know, the committee's gonna be out there, but the way Alicia talked, the 4-H groups were kind of interested in coming out, so I'm really not sure how many we're gonna have.
Well, don't be surprised.
Yeah, don't be
Well,
surprised.
Just
'cause
don't be
let's go.
surprised or disappointed, it's
What do you
just,
mean by don't be surprised?
And nobody showed up.
That only 3 show up?
yeah,
Is that what you're
well,
trying to
the
say?
the same 3, okay,
park-
yeah,
park
show
board.
for everything.
Well, we're hoping that with
Yeah.
these, the way I
Yeah.
wrote that, those flyers up and that
But we'll be there, yeah,
we have some interest, let's get out there
yeah.
and just sit.
Bless you.
Thank you.
Have you filed for your 501(c)(3)?
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
Did they open up the checking account yet?
I don't know, we haven't had a meeting since we talked about that.
The 501c3 is filed, it's been accepted, and BPAC is now registered with the state of Ohio.
Okay, and you got your ID number? You
Oh,
have
you
your
betcha.
federal ID number
You
and all
betcha.
that stuff?
You
Okay.
betcha.
I'm not gonna.
Good.
Yeah,
So- So any other monetary donations, we can now start sticking in that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good. Good.
Okay.
Okay,
Thank you.
okay,
Yeah.
we'll see you Saturday.
Okay, zoning, Rod?
Well, besides what we have already had, I'm gonna pass these around. What you're looking at here, my glasses are old, so. This is on, Mr. Ron Cook. Yellow house is on the other side of the, where's their ditch, whatever you wanna call it.
Take action.
Called me out,
Work on-
and apparently this thing, matter of fact, you kinda indicated you have to move it. About 4 years ago. This ain't something new.
Yeah.
the building, you're gonna see the little eaves of that building, according to Mr. Cook, was there a long time before we had zoning, so there's nothing to be said about that. Right here, you're gonna see here and this spot right here, pin. He had Hank Wilson, his, survey's property. This thing was moved there about 4 years ago, within a foot of that. Make sure that we get one for everybody. He wanted to know what I was gonna do about it. I said, well, first off, I mean,
Who is it?
well, it's his next door neighbor.
Well,
He moved
on
from-
what, on
On that side.
the White House?
Yeah, I don't know the guy's name.
I think that's,
Yes.
yeah, that's Wasserman.
Anyhow, apparently he built a new garage, and that was in the spot where he was gonna build a new garage, so he took that and moved that to there. Now, whether he was just sitting it there, whether he was gonna use it, I don't know. But he said he didn't need a permit, and at the time, so that came up, and since he called me and I went out and see it, I wanna make sure the rest of you know about it. That's gonna kinda go into this executive session, so, but I wanna make you aware of this.
Is this on Ron's property?
If you look at, to the right of that picture is Ron's property. That is that gentleman's property that it's sitting on, but it's sitting within a foot of the property
Oh,
line.
I see.
So, you know, if you're just moving something out of the way,
Yeah.
because you got a building permit to build this garage, that's one thing, but you don't sit there 4 years later and use it for a storage building. Okay, if you're gonna tear it down, okay, tear it down. But,
I have a little question about zoning, if I could, real quick, and not, are you guys looking at pictures or?
No, go ahead.
Things being grandfathered in, and I'm not expecting an answer right now because I just don't know. But there is a particular property uptown that everything in downtown is general business, according to our map.
Right.
So everything prior to our zoning is grandfathered in. So there's a building up there that's nothing but apartments and it's sold. And those apartments are still in there. So what happens? Because technically it's a general business building
Right.
and it was grandfathered and now it's switched hands. So is it grandfathered forever or, I mean, I don't know. I had a realtor call me, they may be refinancing it or whatever, and asked me what the zoning was on them, and I told them it was general business because that's what our map says. And they asked if it was grandfathered, and I said, well, that's a great question. I don't have an answer for that.
Well, if that's the case, what about the old Lyceum?
I have no idea
You know,
what
that's
that
all
is.
apartments now too, so.
I have no idea what that is, but.
what?
Yeah.
Where Larry
Larry
Well, they
Miller,
like,
Miller's
you know,
house.
where
Larry Miller's.
Larry Miller's
used to be Larry Miller.
I
Yeah,
was
it used to
trying
be
not
there.
to say
Lyceum,
names.
that's when I was
I was
born,
trying not to
okay,
say names,
okay.
but
What's
that's
the law say?
I don't know. I mean, my gut would tell me that as long as it's continuing to be used for the same for the same thing, that keeps it going. But I don't know for sure. I mean, now, independent of the fact that they changed the law in Bowling Green, my understanding is we had a law that said you couldn't have more than three, you can't take a house anymore in Bowling Green and chop it up and turn it into apartments. You can't turn a regular family house into like a duplex, for example. Well, except if it's always been used for that purpose, you can keep doing it. So the minute it stops being used for that purpose, you lose the grandfather status. But if it's always being done, and I don't think changing hands makes any difference. I think it has to continually be used for that function. So if I think if they're continuing to use those as apartments, it keeps the character as a grandfather in apartments. But if they all of a sudden put a
Pizza place.
pizza place in the first floor, now I think, and then try to go back to using it as apartments, that you can't do.
Gotcha.
No, that makes sense.
And if that's what
I'm
council's
pretty
in
sure
agreeance with, I mean, by definition, it's not really, that in-depth in our zoning.
So, would this person be interested in still making it apartments?
It still is, I mean,
Well, I
it's
mean,
still
yeah.
all rented out.
Well, yeah, but
I
I
mean,
mean, if they
nothing-
was gonna
nothing
finish
is-
it like the upstairs, we'd get more tax money off of it.
Nothing has changed with the property.
Mhm.
It's just changed owners.
Owners, yeah. Okay.
I don't think that's an issue.
Okay.
Now, again, I may be completely wrong, but that feels like, at least, I know at least how Bowling Green operates with it, cause we dealt with some apartments there. That's,
Where would we find that out at? Or would you be able to do that for us?
Well, that's your zoning.
it's your zoning.
Yeah, that's your decision.
And I've gone through the zoning, I didn't memorize it,
Right.
but when I went through it, the few times I went through it, I never seen anything in there that even applied to a situation like that.
Right.
Right,
Zoning is way too vague for
That's
that.
pretty vague, yeah.
yeah.
So if he doesn't know, I didn't see it, and you don't know,
I got no idea.
then
Well, I think I yield more toward what you're saying, Alex.
I think that's my feeling as well.
Close in the zoning is some-
It's in the same vein, I think, as a remodel too. I mean, it's kind of the same idea. If you,
See,
you know, different
initially,
permits if you
you're on
remodel
zoning
versus
for
if
how
you tear down and.
right, initially, and I don't wanna, I mean, we're gonna be long here anyhow, but real quick, Larry Miller purchased where Scooters is now and wanted to put that into apartments. And that was right after the zoning was enacted. And we ended up in a lawsuit with him over that. Because he purchased the property to make it into apartments, and then we told him he couldn't do that.
Yeah, but that was because the basement, there was no way to, anybody to get out in case there was a fire or
No,
anything, right?
that was because he didn't have the proper amount of parking.
Right.
And it was a general business building, it was not a
That's-
residential building.
Right.
And he got an attorney and he tried to sue the village over that. Gary Holland had to go, that was when Gary Holland was heading up the zoning and he had to go to court over that. So that's why I was kinda, what happens?
But this is different,
I agree,
right?
I
This
agree,
is the
but
same-
that,
all you're doing is changing the name on the front.
exactly. But the word grandfather, to me, I just wasn't real sure on what that meant. Forever, as long as you're
I
not
think it's
changing,
continual use.
as long as you're not changing the use of the building.
As long as you have continuity.
Correct. I think the minute you stop, I think you lose the nature of it. And I would be so far as to stick up for the village if it said, for example, let's say it went vacant and they didn't run them, for some reason you didn't rent it for a year or two.
Right.
I think it loses its characteristic as an apartment building as well, even though nothing else has been in there.
Right.
You didn't use it.
Right.
And I know that's why Spillers and BG are obviously they want to make money, but that's why they always want to make sure these houses have, if they can put 6 people in them, they have 6 people in them, because the minute they don't,
Right.
game's over.
Right. Okay.
But
That's fine. I mean, I've never said anything to the property owner that this was even a question. I just let it ride and told that guy I would call him back once I had an answer. And that was it, because I don't want to cause us any undue.
and I think you leave it. And I think you leave it open to the realtor is tell them exactly the situation is. It was apartments before we instituted our zoning. It's always been apartments,
Perfect.
and they can interpret that however they want.
Okay.
Because then we're not giving them advice on what to do, and we've told them exactly the scenario to expect. So when you have a new buyer, you don't have the same situation that I guess you've had in the past,
Right.
where they're all stunned and surprised. They'll know, and they'll get information from the realtor that just says, hey, it's always been apartments. And then if we
Right.
try to do something, then there's no question, at least to the underlying facts, it's just how do you interpret the facts.
Okay.
Or, I mean, because it used to be a restaurant and stuff too.
But before you instituted the zoning, it was apartments.
It was apartments when we started the zoning.
Yeah.
03 is when we started zoning.
Right.
So,
No, that makes sense.
okay. Thank you.
that's all I have.
Okay. Okay, let's go to business. We got our public records
On Friday.
training Friday. You going, Scott?
Yeah.
You're
I don't
going,
have a car.
I'm taking her.
So Scott's taking me, so you need a,
You need a ride?
you need a ride?
Yeah,
Okay.
Okay.
okay, what time, sir?
It starts
the
at
thing
10, right?
starts at 10 to 1:50.
So we have to leave around 9:59, 9:15.
Okay, I'll be
Thank
ready.
you.
Okay.
I'm
Okay,
going up too, so.
that way Davis will have a car if he needs it. That way Davis will have a car if he needs it. Okey dokey.
My car's in Florida.
Oh, you're
Janelle took it,
Janelle
yeah.
took it,
Oh,
and Chelsea, yeah, and kids.
Okay.
Okay, read us opinion on responders.
Do you wanna tell them what,
Sure. I talked to Derek, and Derek has said, yes, they will prosecute him for us. So Angela and I need to spend a few minutes just getting Derek what he needs, and he'll need names, he'll need proof that these people actually owe taxes, he'll hopefully need to, if we can provide him what they owe is helpful as well. And this should, the information we have from Rita will be helpful to do that. And basically, we need to know who lived in the village, who we know lives in the village and hasn't paid, or we know who works in the village and hasn't paid. That should be pretty easy to line up, just as long as Derek can prove it. But they'll do it, so
Good.
okay,
they'll do their jobs that they were contracted to do. So
Cool.
okay.
Okay, read us opinion update.
I just wanna let you guys know I got the letter with the outcome from the subpoena program. They sent 96 letters of non-filing, they heard back from 15, and they were able to find $3,293.96 in taxes that were owed. They sent 71 subpoenas out and only 12 responded, and they found $7,006.49, a total of $10,300.45 for the last subpoena program. And we've collected 5586 so far. So I just want to let you guys know.
Okay.
Village website.
Yeah, I did call Jake then, just find out, the status of the whole thing and what the issue was. And so basically, we've only used 24 hours of the money what we set aside for it. And what the issue is somebody's gotta manage what he wants on the web, or what we want on the website. That's what the issue is. So we gotta define, okay, what we want on there, how we wanna set the website up and all that stuff. And he'll do whatever we need. It's just there was no direction given, so we'll do whatever we need. So I guess maybe we need to sit down and figure out what we wanna put on the website and how we want it to function. And define that, and I can have him set it all up, and then we'll try to get operational. As far as, do we wanna tag, now that we have all the documentation stuff, or do we wanna get it set up so we can, scan, pull the documents off the website or whatever, what I'm saying? So I guess that's what we need to define what we wanna do. And I can coordinate that with Jake, then once we decide what we wanna do and how we're gonna do it. I think that's what we're gonna have to do, is somebody manage it, just saying, okay, this is what we wanna put on the website, this is what we're gonna change this month or whatever, and who will update it, and then we'll be the webmaster, which I think is probably a better way to do it. So we still have roughly, 76 hours, so that we've already paid, so we might as well take advantage of it. So. Any questions or?
No, I think we need to
We need to get it done.
talk it through though.
Yeah, define exactly how we wanna do it, right? I think that's what
But
the
I
issue.
think every department head, like Joyce has got clean up, and
Yeah.
we have some, Chris is gonna be some changes, I hope,
Mhm.
in zoning, that needs to be posted on there.
Right.
So people know
What-
who to call, what to do,
Right.
that sort of thing. Same thing with the fire department.
So you want me to put an outline together of what I think, and then you guys?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do
Yeah.
that,
Is that what you
and
think?
then
You've
present it
set-
to
you've
us.
set 'em
My
up
information.
plenty of times, right?
Yeah,
I mean, you've done them.
Yeah, so I'll just go ahead and I'll put an outline together and then say, okay, this is kinda what I'm thinking.
Right.
Does this make sense? We want
Yeah,
to change,
that would-
whatever.
and then we can put in
And I-
our
I-
input.
I can send it to Jake and I can we'll talk through what we wanna do and have him formalize it and make it functional, I guess.
okay,
I mean, that's, the problem is we got too much on, in the last couple of years, the conflict, and we never got focused back on what we should have been doing because we was,
Doing the public.
so,
okay.
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 House number signs?
Yes, it's now that it's warm, I think we'll be able to get this done. We can be pounding some stakes in the ground, so. Linda, I think you and I should get together maybe here pretty soon and.
Okay, sounds
we'll
good to
recruit
me.
a couple Gale help and.
Davis will help.
Yeah, and we can get this started.
It's not
and-
that strenuous,
Yeah.
he can help with
Shouldn't
that.
take too much longer, we will. So we'll try to get it done this month, or whatever.
Yeah, month of April.
Yeah.
Yep,
Okay?
yep.
Okay. Any other old business? Now we'll move on to new business. Appropriation increase for the fire truck.
Somewhere I lost it.
What'd you lose?
Oh, yeah. Appropriation thing, number, hit number number.
Oh,
He's bad than Gary.
Yeah.
What the hell?
Family trait.
This is, that's what I-
Somebody had to say it.
Take your shots when you get it.
Yeah,
Put it under
you
your
stuck it right out
agenda.
there. Yeah,
Look
probably
under
is.
there.
There's the sheriff there. That was the stuff with Jake. Yeah, here it is. Read this now. Okay. So what she gave me is basically, council was asked to approve an increase in appropriations for the following: the $18,000 for account code 3901-850-710 principal in the fire truck debt service fund to pay the 2019 loan payment. New total $197,797. And then we need to change account number $2,900 for account code 3901-850-720 interest in the fire truck debt service fund to pay for the 2019 loan payment. Make a motion to do that.
Okay, I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
Joyce,
Yeah.
Linda,
Yes.
Rob,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Bill.
Yes.
Okay. We got this thing, it's from Julie Atkins from the auditor's office. For Dalton Pope for this land out here. Application for placement of farmland in an agricultural district. It's ORC section 929-02. Page 4 for it. Page 3 or 4, down on page 4.
That was just all this.
Oh,
Do you wanna see it?
well, not necessarily, but I guess what he's asking to do is so for, that it remains agricultural district for right now.
That it
I
has been
don't,
farm trees.
we've never got one of these before, so.
Does he pay taxes on that here? So-
It's village
I'm
property.
sure.
It's village property, isn't it?
Yeah, it says here's the land presently being taxed as a current agricultural use valuation, and he put yes.
Because he was gonna develop it at
Yeah,
one
he was gonna
time.
develop it at
And
one
put
time. and then-
apartments on
yeah.
it and a laundromat and
Oh,
all
I didn't know
that.
that. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was gonna do all that,
That was
and
before my
then
time, then, I remember.
Yeah.
things just got super
Yeah.
expensive, and he
Yeah.
decided not to do it, because he talked to me about it at his funeral. I said, just get a hold of Gary.
Never did that.
I mean, he's been farming for,
For a long time, yeah.
You bought it from Thompson's, right? Didn't you buy it from
Um,
Isabel? Wasn't that their property at one time?
I don't remember way back then.
Yeah. So do we have any problem with making it?
no, I have a motion.
If it's
No.
already listed as that, then.
Yeah,
Okay, so all we have to do is approve it.
I think a motion to approve it.
I'll second that.
Scott,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Rob,
Yes.
Joyce,
Yeah.
Linda.
Yep.
Okay. The amendment to ordinance 2013-18 per audit. What?
That, when we had our last audit, they recommended, it was one of the recommendations, that we do an amendment to that ordinance to specify if the cost of living increase is effective when an employee is given a pay raise outside of the annual cost of living increase. Or specify when giving an employee a pay raise, if the 3% annual cost of living should also be applied to the new rate. Because they said it was vague. So I just need to know which way you guys want it. Now I was gonna see if Alex could do the amendment for the next meeting.
Whatever you wanna do.
Do you understand what I'm saying? Or is it confusing?
Yeah, it was, yeah.
Okay.
Say it again, so we can.
Yeah, say it again, Sam.
Okay, they need to know if when someone gets an increase, will they still get the cost of living increase as well? That's pretty much what they're
So if
saying.
you give someone an increase in December, are they still gonna get the 3% in January?
Come January.
And
Yeah.
on what amount? We probably need to specify onto what amount. Is it to the new salary or is it based on their?
Retroactive
Yeah.
or whatever.
Because this just says, if the cost of living is effective when an employee is given a pay raise outside of the annual cost of living, or specify when giving an employee a pay raise, if the 3% cost of living should also be applied to the new rate.
So,
Wasn't that what we did when we got the raise, when it was
Correct.
time for the
Well, they're
3%?
saying it needs to be in the ordinance,
Okay,
Yes.
not that you didn't do it, they're saying it should
Right.
be listed right in the ordinance as an
okay,
amendment.
okay.
So you're gonna develop the ordinance.
Yeah, do we have the old one?
Yep, I have a copy for you.
Perfect.
Okay,
So what do you guys, which way you guys wanna do it?
Isn't that what we,
first way sounds what we've been doing, correct?
if you got a raise in
Right, John?
December, in January, you would get the
We
3%,
only
right?
had the situation happen one
Once.
time.
One, yes,
Yeah,
that's a few
So-
months ago.
yeah, right, isn't that what we're trying to say?
So you
It-
basically, when giving an employee a pay raise,
You're
the
still gonna
3%
give them the
annual
3%.
living should also be applied to the new rate.
Yes,
And then you guys can change it as you need to,
Yeah,
what you guys wanna say, okay.
right.
I'd make it vague. I mean, it's vague for a reason. So they can make a decision on it.
Right,
instead
that's
of-
what I'm saying.
Right.
Okay, so you'll take care of that for the next
Yep.
meeting.
okay.
Okay. And now we need somebody to make a motion to go into executive session.
I'll make the motion.
Well, that's,
Who made the motion?
Rob did.
For zoning, right?
For zoning.
For zoning.
for zoning.
Second,
I'll second.
Rob,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Joyce,
Yeah.
Linda,
Yes.
Scott.
Yes.
John, did you turn, John,
Hold on.
did you turn the
Yeah.
thing?